Did you know that nearly 95% of Karnataka's population hail from castes and communities covered under one category or another of reservation? Hello and welcome to the New Indian Express. I am Anusha Ravi Sood. Very glad to have you back on TNI Talk Room. There is a sudden surge of quota agitations in Karnataka, with communities, many of them led by religious seers, demanding increase in reservation or recategorization of their communities. Politically influential, numerically superior communities are pressurizing the B.S. Yediyurappa-led BJP government, some even threatening them with consequences if their demands are not met. On this week's TNI Talk Room, we discuss this hornet's nest. Under existing reservation in Karnataka, castes and communities are classified into 7 categories. Scheduled castes get 15% reservation, scheduled tribes 3%. Category 1, that comprises about 95 castes and their subcastes, get 4% reservation. Category 2A, with about 102 castes and subcastes, get 15% reservation. Category 2B, mainly comprising Muslims, get 4% reservation. Category 3A, including Vokkaligas and their subcastes, get 4% reservation. Category 3B, including Lingayats, Marathas, Christians, Jains, and 42 subcastes, get 5% reservation. Apart from the religious minorities, reservation is extended to some 101 scheduled castes, 50 scheduled tribes, 207 other backward classes. Except SC, ST, and Category 1, all other reservation categories are restricted by the creamy layer clause as well as an income ceiling of about 8 lakh rupees per family per annum. While general category castes or otherwise deemed upper castes like Brahmins, Arya-Vaishyas, etc. were not covered under any reservation category, in 2019 the union government introduced a 10% quota for economically backward sections within these communities. While Karnataka government has started issuing income certificates to people from economically backward sections within these general category castes, the decision on whether to implement this 10% reservation is still pending. In Karnataka today, SCs want their reservation to be increased from the existing 15% to 17%, while STs are demanding that their reservation be hiked from the existing 3% to 7%. Kurubas want to be included under ST category, while Edigas are demanding that they be included under the SC category. The Panchamasali Lingayats, who are numerically superior within the Lingayat caste, are demanding that they be included in 2A category that has a 15% quota in Karnataka, while Vokkaligas want an increase in reservation and also a welfare board. The demands from Lingayat community, the community that Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa belongs to, is kind of putting the Chief Minister in a tricky situation, especially after his attempts to include Veerashaiva Lingayat sect into the centre's OBC list was stonewalled from within his party. Reservation has been used as a political tool by all parties for decades now, and today in Karnataka, it's one community each day that is coming up with a new demand. To discuss this further, my colleague and political editor Bansi Kalappa joins me.
Well, let's look at the situation in Karnataka. There are a large number of communities seeking inclusion in the different categories of reservation. First, the Valmiki community, they're already in the ST. They are seeking an increase in reservation within the ST status. Number 2, Kuruba community. They are already in the backward 2A. They are seeking for inclusion in the ST, that is scheduled tribe. Number 3, Pancham Shalis. They are already backward in backward 3B. They are seeking for inclusion in the backward 2A. The huge Lingayat community is seeking for inclusion in the OBC. If you look at the numerically very small Kodwa community, they are seeking for inclusion in the ST status. So why all these communities are seeking this all at once? It may seem odd, but yes, coincidentally, each one of them is seeking reservation at this point of time, simply because a large number of them believe that they do stand a good chance in making it to this reservation list that they are seeking. So each one of them coming before the government, knocking on the doors, making the right kind of noises for their inclusion within this reservation list.
There are yardsticks to be applied when a community is considered for reservation in each of the categories. Can you take us through the process?
Well, what is the criteria for reservation? If you look at the reservation, whether you look at the Havanur Commission report or the Venkateswamy Commission report or the Chinnapreddy Commission report, this is because the struggle to be termed backward, this has been a long-standing demand, it's not new. So if you look at all of these and the rules enshrined in the constitution, it says that social backwardness is a yardstick for reservation. Someone cannot say they are poor and therefore they must be given reservation, because that is, some of them are making that demand now. Mr. Dwarakanath was an expert on this. Also certain former advocate generals like Professor Ravi Verma Kumar and others, including Ashok Harnadi, saying that there is a law which says how a person can get reservation, and the yardstick for it is social backwardness. If someone is economically backward, they can seek support or reservation under the economically weaker section, which has a 10%. So for this moment, for the moment, social backwardness is the criteria.
Allegations have been flying high, whether it is the ruling party or the opposition, over the quota stirs in Karnataka. What are its political ramifications or the likely outcome?
Well, if you see Devraj Aras, the former chief minister, he's the man who really brought in this backward into the political stage. And ever since then, there has been this attempt to redefine backward. So what are the political ramifications? Much, in every way. Because if you look at it, Mr. B.S. Yediyurappa, who is the chief minister, tried to bring in this entire Lingayat community to the OBC status. If he managed it, then it would be a game changer for him and for his party. So each one, definitely there is a political a benefit for each one of them who's seeking to get reservation for their community. Now let's say Mr. K.S. Ishwarappa. He hails from the Kurva community. He's trying to push for ST status for his community. Now that would be a game changer. If he really managed it, it would be a game changer for him. For the Valmiki Nayakas, largely Sri Ramulu and the others, it would be a game changer for them, because if they do manage a higher amount of reservation for the STs, it would be a game changer for them. So there is a political benefit for all the prime movers in this. Obviously, that goes without saying.
The Supreme Court of India has set a ceiling of 50% on reservation. Unlike Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, Karnataka has stuck to this limit so far. If the state government intends to increase reservation overall, then it is likely to invite legal hurdles. If the state government decides to take the Tamil Nadu way, it would require the legislature to pass a resolution increasing the reservation ceiling in Karnataka and then compelling the union government to add this reservation law to the 9th schedule of the constitution. Whichever route the state government decides to take, the union government's approval will become indispensable. A statement that has been repeated by Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa to representatives of communities who have been knocking at his doors. Amid the din, one must remember that reservation has been popularly quoted as not being a poverty alleviation program, but an attempt to give adequate representation and opportunities to people of those communities, those sections that have been deprived of the same for centuries. And this must take precedence over appeasement when policymakers decide changes to reservation. Thank you so much for watching the New Indian Express. Do stay tuned until next week when we bring to you yet another topic on TNI Talk Room.